Have you ever wondered, in the quiet shadows before dawn, what is the true secret behind the man whose life seems to flow with an invisible force, where obstacles do not stop him, but bend to his stride? What causes reality to seemingly bend for the man who achieves true inner strength? It is not magic, nor is it luck. It is the exact discipline and the rigorous application of neuroscience and ancestral philosophy. We are not talking about fleeting motivation. We are talking about male self-improvement and inner strength distilled into a single principle. Carl Jung used to say, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." Feel the weight of this sentence. The modern man is exhausted because he seeks power outside, in relentless control, in incessant noise, in the accumulation of possessions and opinions. He ignores the mastery that resides within, the only battlefield that truly matters. Exhaustion is not a physical problem. It is an alignment problem. Your soul is at war with your ego. The contemporary male dilemma is dispersion. Mental noise, lack of purpose, and the persistent feeling of emptiness are merely the echo of your misaligned unconscious. You live in a state of fragmentation. The mind, invaded by millions of pieces of information, has become a chaos that paralyzes the will. You try to fix the world, but the fissure is in the mirror. The promise of this path is radical and profound. The world bends, the promise of the title, not when you force it with your haste or your undue ambition, but when your ego aligns with your higher self, your psychic totality. The self is your unshakable center, the source of inner strength that external chaos cannot touch. Power is not acquired. It is revealed when the ego's disguise is dropped. This is not a path that demands you add more tasks to your list. It demands you subtract the noise. It is not about superficial positive thinking or empty promises. It is about clearly seeing your own psychic and neurochemical structure. In the next few minutes, you will perceive the first sign of a free mind. The guiding question that must resonate in your silence is, how do you silence the mind's noise so that the voice of action and purpose becomes the only truth that guides you? If this message has already resonated, leave a like now. This helps to spread consciousness.
The human problem that unites us is the incessant attempt to stop thinking. You try to silence the mind, but the act of trying is already a thought, a new wave of noise. Common solutions fail because they try to treat the surface, the symptom of anxiety, and ignore the invisible cause, the desperate ego clinging to the illusion of control. The modern man lives in identification with his noise. He sees himself as his anxiety, as his frustration, as his endless to-do list. He confuses frantic agitation with clear direction, but in reality, he is only fleeing from stillness. You are tired, not from overwork, but from excessive resistance to what is. The invisible cause of your torment is fear. The fear that by calming down, you will discover the consequence, the existential void that society tries to fill with consumption. Anxiety is the loss of presence. It is the mind living in the ghosts of the past or the projections of the future. But you are ready for this truth. If you recognize yourself in this, stay with me until the end. There is a truth that changes everything, anchored in inner strength.
The breaking of this cycle can only be achieved through a wisdom that transcends time, anchored in internal experience. Our source of authority is neither mystical nor dogmatic. It is the union of the deepest psychology with modern neuroscience. Carl Jung, the cartographer of the soul, taught the journey of individuation, the process of becoming whole, of unifying the opposites of the psyche. Power lies in mastering perceptions, not events. Chaos is inevitable. Your reaction to it is what defines your destiny. Jung gave us the map. And Dr. Andrew Newberg, the neuroscientist who studies the relationship between the brain and spiritual experience, gave us the instruction manual. He showed that silence and contemplative practices are not just feelings, they are the result of a physical change in the brain. They reconfigure the areas of the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system, teaching the brain to stop generating self-referential noise. The man who masters the mind is not wiser, he is neurologically more efficient. If this idea makes you think differently, subscribe. This channel exists to keep the flame of male consciousness alive.
There was a man, let's call him Calum. He was the personification of external success. His career was impeccable, his contact list vast. But Calum was divided. His life was a constant attempt to control people, outcomes, and especially his own fear. He lived according to the persona the world expected, the armor of the hyperactive ego. Calum's mistake was chronic. He believed that if he planned enough, he would eliminate uncertainty. His phone was his extension, his mind, an office in a constant state of emergency. He was the man who lived trying to control everything around until he realized that chaos was, in fact, within. The internal noise, the incessant debate between what he should have done and what he needed to do, consumed his vital energy. The fall did not come with financial failure, but with the existential void that success could no longer fill. He was there, at the top, feeling more tired and clouded than ever. The turning point came when he read Jung and understood that his suffering did not come from things, but from his opinions about them. He discovered the philosophical principle: strength is not in the shout or the rush, but in the stillness that precedes it. The internal result was transformation. Calum stopped fighting for the external persona and began seeking the serenity of the self. His inner strength, previously choked by the noise, began to emerge.
Male self-improvement is not about adding. It is about the discipline of subtraction. This is the practical application of the union between Jungian psychology and Newberg's neuroscience, divided into 5 principles that restore your inner strength. The veiled restlessness, the divided man, noise versus silence. What men feel but do not name is the silent anxiety that life is being spent on empty tasks while real purpose remains untouched. This is the wound of dissociation between what you do and what you are. Mental noise is the symptom. This is the fundamental archetypal conflict. Are you the warrior, aligned action and will, or the shadow, fear, hesitation, and the refusal to face your own darkness? You are the man divided between observing, consciousness, the self, and reacting, emotion, the ego. The legitimacy of the conflict is not a weakness, it is the journey of individuation, Jung. You need to bring the shadow into the light of consciousness, for mental noise is the shadow screaming for attention. The natural metaphor reveals the truth. The incessant wind, mental noise, is merely the echo of your resistance to stopping the fight against reality. You tried to block the wind, but it passes through you if you just relax the resistance. Male self-improvement begins when you stop fighting your own thoughts and start observing them. Noise is only the echo of what we forgot to hear. The subtle self-deception, the tyranny of the unconscious intellect. The invisible error is fatal to inner strength. It is confusing accumulation of information with applied wisdom. The search for more knowledge, more degrees, more lives or podcasts is frequently a disguised escape from action and presence. You use the mind to feel safe, but you are only building a prison of data. The confrontation is inevitable. The excess of stimulation, dopamine, screens, notifications, is the prison you have built to avoid presence. You are addicted to distraction, for distraction prevents you from looking within. The true dominator you must confront is your hyperactive ego, which fears uncertainty. Peace is impossible while the ego is the master, for it only thrives in the control of the predictable. Inner mastery is validated by science. Andrew Newberg demonstrates that high activity in the prefrontal cortex, the intellect, the area of analysis and planning, blocks the flow of deep clarity, limbic and intuitive connections. You must calm the mind to see the essential truth. The only way to access the self and your inner strength is to silence the hyperactive intellect. Are you using the intellect to seek the truth or to hide from it? The philosophical revelation, the awakening of the self. The transformative principle is a radical inversion of what society teaches. Male self-improvement is not about adding more discipline, more productivity, more wealth. It is about removing what separates you from your essence, the self. The self is already perfect, already whole, already strong. This is the inversion of logic that makes the world bend. You do not gain control of the world, you gain control of the observer. It is here, in the inner alignment, that the world bends and opportunities flow effortlessly. The symbol of the path is the mirror. The master's mind is a mirror that reflects reality without judging and without clinging to the image. Lucidity arises in the void of reaction, the mushin of Musashi, applied to life. The psychological connection is your state of power. The state of flow is the moment when the ego disappears and the self, pure, competent consciousness, assumes total control of the action. The man in the state of flow is not thinking, he is being. Male self-improvement is the search for this state of being. The mini epiphany is simple, yet carries the weight of truth. Silence is not absence, it is presence without effort. It is the bridge to your true power. The practical application, the warrior's minimalist ritual. The possible transformation is not theoretical. Inner strength is a daily discipline that manifests in the simple routine and not in Herculean effort. The strong man does not try to do everything. He does the essential with total presence. The everyday example is your point of power.
Faced with a conflict or a difficult decision at work, the non-reactive man stops analyzing the external, what the other person did, what the situation demands, and aligns the internal, what myself would do now, with clarity and without noise. Newberg's real micro-practice is your tool, the 60-second alignment ritual, focusing attention on the silence between two deep breaths, activating the areas of the brain linked to peace and emotional coherence. This is the physical mastery of the mind, the science behind stillness. The inner change is the inevitable consequence. Clarity and focus are not sought. They are the consequence of the mind that has calmed down. Strength is in being impossible to move. If this practice of neuroscience and consciousness has resonated, subscribe to continue forging this path of male self-improvement. The inner turn, the strength that resides in stillness. The before and after defines the man's journey. Before, the man was the reaction, the wave that breaks against the world's shore. Now, he is the calm observer, the ocean that contains all waves. He no longer identifies with suffering, he observes it. The metaphor of stillness is your anchor. The sky, your consciousness, yourself, remains unchanged even if the clouds, your thoughts and emotions, pass with ferocity. You are not the cloud. You are not the noise. You are the space where the noise happens. Self-mastery and serenity are your true male authority. Strength is in being incapable of being moved by external chaos, by criticism, by loss, or by gain. The wise and poetic closing seals the lesson. Strength is not in the shout or the rush, but in the stillness that precedes it. It is there, in your calm center, that the mastery of the mind manifests. Stillness is your only negotiable power with the world.
Feel your spine straight, firm, rooted, like an ancient tree. Now, I invite you to breathe with me. Breathe deep, slow, firm. Exhale. Let your mind wander through the ocean of thoughts, but do not board any ship. Just observe. Feel the gentle tingling in your hands and body. This temporary relief, this clarity that arises in the space between one thought and another is not a trick of your mind. It is your nervous system responding to the self. It is your brain, under the influence of stillness, shutting down the hyperactive prefrontal cortex and allowing your center of clarity to take over. You are here, now. That is the subjective proof that inner strength is tangible.
The path to male self-improvement is not a frantic search. It is a return. The world bends because you stopped fighting it. Your presence and alignment have made reality negotiable, not because you dominated it, but because you mastered yourself. The unified lesson of Jung and Newberg is clear. The journey of individuation, Jung, is achieved by the neural discipline of silence, Newberg. You must bring the shadow to the light, Jung, through contemplative practice that reconfigures your brain circuitry, Newberg. The path is not to conquer chaos. It is to remain quiet and whole within it. You realize now, the control you sought was not over the world, but over yourself. Your true achievement is not external success. It is the clarity and unshakable strength you discovered in your center, the core of yourself. The man who silences the mind is the one who finally becomes the force he always searched for outside.
The final secret is not a step, but a realization. You spent your life seeking power, but power is only the echo of your presence. Your essence, yourself, did not need to be improved. It needed to be revealed. Inner strength is what remains when you courageously disidentify from your ego and your mental noise. Do not seek silence, become it. The mind quiets, the being speaks. Who knows himself is never lost. Life is a journey of mastery, and the battlefield is only your own mind. Comment presence if you feel this truth and are ready to forge your inner strength and your male self-improvement.